Well, hey, howdy, hello, happy in bulk. We're halfway between winter and spring, more or less. I'm feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this fine, fantastic Monday morning. I hope you are as well. As usual, I'm here just to check in with my body, do a little playful moving, a little stretching and strengthening. And I invite you to join me to whatever degree feels good in your body. If it does, at the very least, I encourage you to take a deep breath in and just let that shit go. Let go of the past like it was yesterday. Make room for right now, today. I'm going to start with, of course, a little silliness, and then also a couple of breaths to bring my attention into the bottoms of my feet. Root myself into the center of the earth. Hang myself from the center of the sky. Check in with the spine. Let's do a nice slow roll down. Seeing where it's sticky or where it's supple. Coming on down past the waist to the hips. And just hanging here from the hips for a breath or so. Relaxing the belly, relaxing the low back. I'm going to roll up nice and slow again, still just checking in with the spine, seeing where it's sticky, where it feels good and where it feels not so good. I took a lot of tumbles this weekend, so I'm still coming back online with all the parts. Let's do another forward fold, this time with a relatively flat back, again from the hips, swan diving down, making sure not to lock the knees, coming on down to hang again, let gravity do some unwinding. This time I'm going to bend the knees, swing the arms back, and come into a bit of a counter stretch, pushing those hips forward. I see there's a bug in a spider web up here. Oh, yeah, I got whiplash in my neck a little, so I gotta be gentle with that. That's what happens when you fall down hard on your snowboard. It's one of my favorite things, so I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. Let's do one more. Forward fold, swan dive down from the hips, relatively flat back, just hanging here. And this time I'm going to pull up from the waist, pulling up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen, left elbow over right, pulling those shoulder blades apart, giving myself a nice little hug, a nice squeeze, rounding the spine, and then releasing all of that again from the hips. Just letting that go. And come up this time, right elbow over left. Again, pulling up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen. Oh, got a big crunch in the shoulder there. Feels good. To stretch that out and releasing all that again from the hips. Let's roll up nice and slow one more time. Stacking one vertebra on the next. Checking in with everybody. Shake that out. I got a new camera angle. I don't know if you can tell. I doubled up my mattresses in here. Being the princess that I am, I would still feel a pee if you put one under there. But you probably can't tell if there's one under there or not in the camera. Stepping back with the left foot into a moderate lunge. I'm pulling this back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, making sure that this front knee isn't crunching past the front toes. I'm looking for about a 90-degree angle and adjusting that back foot as necessary to keep that pushing into that back heel. Just enjoying that. I'm going to bring hands forward, making sure not to crunch those shoulders forward, but pulling those back and down. And bringing my eyes to my fingertips for sharp focus. And then changing that focus to a soft focus, noticing my peripheral vision, gazing past my fingertips with soft eyes to see the back of my own head. And then bringing that back to sharp focus on my fingertips. And again, soft eyes around the universe to see the back of my own head. One more time, sharp focus on the fingertips. Still working to pull that back hip forward, forward hip back. And one more time, soft eyes around the universe. See the back of my own head. And then I'm going to open the hips, shifting this back heel onto the perpendicular plane. Checking out the side plane here. Adjusting the legs a little bit to keep that 90-degree angle on the front, but deepening that stance. And then I'm going to bend from the hips into a side twisting triangle. See if I can work within the square that I've built myself. Bringing that right hand down on the inside of the right leg and lifting the left arm, gazing past those fingertips, giving everybody a nice internal hug. A little squeeze, a little wringing out. Let's increase that. Bringing this hand around the back side to reach for this back thigh and gazing out past that long leg. Giving everybody a nice hug, nice check. See if anybody has anything to say to me from the inside. Give that a little listen. Got some ka-chunks. I'm going to unwind all of that and bringing this hand down on the inside of that right leg. Shifting onto the back toes. Bringing weight onto these hands. I'm going to bring my front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the spine. Tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head and pushing into both of those heels. Let's bend the right knee, pressing into the left. And bend the left, pressing into the right. And again, pressing into the left and the right. And then both. Pressing the heart toward the earth. Pressing the heels into the earth. Tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. Let's swing the body forward. Keeping these legs together, lifting the chest and eyes. Might have to angle it. Keeping those legs together, letting the belly just drop. And then lifting the hips, pushing back again through the palms, into the heels, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. And then I'm going to swing this left foot forward in between the hands, coming into a nice deep lunge. Hands on either side of that front foot. You can see I'm going to need to adjust my distance a little. Happy Imbolc. Yes. It's a good day for a halfway point, isn't it? A little check. I'm going to step forward with this back foot, hanging again in forward fold, and then bend the knees, swing the arms back, come into a counter stretch, pushing those hips forward, lifting the eyes and chest, and then coming back to neutral. Shake all that out, and let's step back with the right foot, again into a moderate lunge, pulling the back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under. Looking for a nice long and strong line through the midsection. I'm going to bring arms up overhead this time, making sure not to crunch up in the shoulders, and then pushing onto the diagonal, feeling for that energetic line. Out the heel, through the spine, out the fingertips, still pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back. And then lifting back to upright, tipping the tailbone under. Let's bring those arms down in front, making sure not to crunch forward with those shoulders. Sharp focus on the fingertips. And then soft eyes, gazing past those fingertips to see the back of my own head. And then sharp focus again on the fingertips. And soft eyes, noticing how my focus changes my perception in my body. Just kind of tuning into that a little bit. Sharp focus on my fingertips. And then soft eyes again around the universe. See the back of my own head. Shifting that back heel onto the perpendicular line, opening the hips. Looking to the side plane, shifting that back heel out a little bit, and bringing my left hand down on the inside of that left leg. Bringing that right hand up to gaze past those fingertips for a nice twisting side aeroplane triangle pose. And then bringing this hand around the back to reach for that opposite thigh and gazing out past that long leg. Giving all those organs a nice little hug, a squeeze, and a good morning. And then bring this hand down on the inside of that left leg. A nice deep lunge. I will shift over here, get the light to shift. I'm bringing my weight onto my hands. I'm going to bring this front foot back to meet the back foot, pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into those heels. And then shifting the body forward. I'm going to scrunch those toes back a little bit, lifting the chest and eyes. Dropping the belly, keeping these arms in close to the body. Protecting the low back with the butt. And letting the belly relax. Add a little tongue stretch there for the whole front. Add a little rocking on the toes. I'm not doing the splits, Tom. I can't do the splits either, but I bet you wouldn't die. You'd just pull a muscle. Perhaps. Lift the hips, pressing through the palms, through the spine, into the back of the tailbone, tipping toward the back of the head and into those heels. And then stepping forward with that right foot into a nice deep lunge. And stepping forward with that back foot, hanging here again in forward fold, letting the belly go, letting the back go, just folding from the hips. Letting gravity do some unwinding, and then I'm going to stack one vertebra on the next, rolling up nice and slow. Just checking in with the spine some more. Shake that out to the left and shake it to the right. Let's come into a nice straddle position. A little bit wider. And then I'm going to do some hip dips. That gives a nice stretch on the inside of the thigh. Dipping on the right and dipping on the left. Dipping on the right and dipping on the left and on the right and on the left. Come back to center. Let's walk those feet back together and then sliding the hips over. So keeping the hips relatively parallel to the floor. Sometimes you got to kind of pull down at that end, pulling over to the left. Over to the right, and over to the left, and over to the right, and over to the left. I think you're protesting, Tom. I can't quite read all of what you're saying, but do what feels good in your body. Start somewhere and then add a little more. That's what I could say to any of that. Ain't nobody getting any younger around here. I can add that. Yeah. And now I'm gonna, thanks. I'm gonna take weight off the right and push into that left hip. That changes the stretch into the hip socket for me. Taking weight off the left and pushing into the right. And pushing into the left. and pushing into the right, over to the left, and over to the right. And let's go back into a straddle position and dip again, pulling that stretch back into the legs. It's a good precursor for practicing the splits, Tom. And you start where it is just a little uncomfortable but not painful, and then increase it a little bit every other day. No Benjamin buttons, that's too bad. Yes, taking care of your body is like the best thing you can do for yourself, because your body is the thing you can't live without. And the thing that you're relying on to take you through the day, right? Yes. Let's do a little balancing. I'm going to bring my weight onto my right and bring this left knee up toward left shoulder, relaxing that supporting side. Relaxing the shoulders, tipping the tailbone under a little bit, looking for a nice long and strong line through the core. Let's do a little medium and big circles. Little circles with the ankles. I got my big slipper boots on. They're cozy. Let's do medium circles from the knee. That's what that is. And the other way. Still really focusing on not counter leaning and relaxing that supporting foot. Let's do big circles. You can, of course, use a wall or a doorway, or even try laying on the floor to do this range of motion. And the other way. And then setting that foot down. Let's do the other side. Bringing right knee up toward right shoulder. Tipping the tailbone under a little bit. Relaxing those shoulders. Relaxing the supporting foot. And little circles with the foot on the ankle. And then medium circles from the knee. Just exploring range of motion, noticing how the two sides are different and how they work together to accomplish everything on either side. Let's do big circles from the hips. Don't forget to breathe and smile, whatever else you're doing. Or, you know what I'm going to say, you can try scowling and holding your breath and see. Tom, it's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Stomping that out, shaking it out a little bit more. I'm actually going to come back into a plank position and do one slow push-up. So bending forward from the hips, walking the hands out and the legs out. I'm going to do one slow push-up with me, Tom. Come on. You got one in ya. Keeping the elbows in close to the body. Keeping the legs together. And nice and slow. Down. And then holding. And then pushing back up. Let's do 2 push-ups. One more time. Down. Holding at the bottom. Lifting the hips, pushing back through the spine. I'm going to walk those feet forward, back to the hands. And roll up nice and slow. Shaking that out. I'm going to do some little medium and big circles with the hands and arms for good measure. Just checking in with all the little bones and the fingers and the wrists. Let's do medium circles with the shoulders. Breathing in on the way up. And the other way. And that's 2 big circles with the arms. I gotta move to where I'm not gonna hit the dome. I'm gonna have to move you back of that. All right. And the other way. Shaking all that out. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you're remembering to be playful. Take care of this moving machine that is your body. It's probably more phenomenal than you know. Happy Imbolc. I don't know how to say it clearly. I've only used to reading it. Anyway, happy February 1st. Happy Monday. Happy day. Happy 2021. I'll be seeing ya. Greg, Juan, good to see ya. Ciao for now.